Guys, I've taken an L. We've all taken an L. Deji, he lost again, 0-3. I'm gonna get these quick thoughts out of the way about the event itself. Overall, just kind of overwhelming. As much as Social Gloves was a social event, a social scam, Showstar was just it was so weird. Like, the first two fights with Salt Pappy, great fight. Really, I wasn't looking forward to it, but it was pretty entertaining. Same thing with Stromedy. Like, the first two fights were entertaining, fast-paced. They were what we wanted. And then we had the next fight, which was, I think, DK Money and some other guy, and the guy headbutted him in the fight, and I'm like, what is this? But it was kind of just not a good look for YouTube boxing, because that's what people expect. You know, they don't expect something like the first KSI fight or the second Logan Paul fight, where it's clean for the most part. There's no big drama. Well, there was the hit to the back of the head, but it wasn't like there was something totally, like, you know, as bad as a headbutt. And the headbutt was not at all good. And I think it just reaffirmed, you know, we're trying to make YouTube boxing legitimized. And then we had Anthony Taylor and the Mellow Fellow won. That fight, underwhelming, but that was okay because there were fights that are underwhelming. Minikin versus Arms, who got taken out on a stretcher after his fight was over, and that was very bizarre, and it was a good fight, but I don't think either guy was able to land a knockout. Vitali versus Christian, and that fight I was looking forward to, but it was underwhelming. There was no knockout, and he was headbutting Vitali, and it ended in a majority decision. And then we got King Kenny versus Face Temper. Honestly, I thought that you can make an argument for Face Temper winning, or an argument for King Kenny. I think Kenny winning is fine, but I didn't really care about that fight, though some people are saying he's robbed. I think it's a bit of a strong word, but I'm not disagreeing that Face Temper could have won. Controversial, I don't think Deji should have won. I know, you're like, what? I don't think Alex should have won. What? I think it should have been a draw. Here's the thing. I initially thought Deji probably won. I saw the fight live. I wasn't able to watch it here, but I saw it live, bought the pay-per-view, and I was like, Deji should have won this fight. But I heard the commentary, because I was after, and Vidal said if this was based on defense and head movement, Deji wins every round. But that's not what it's based on, and it's based on aggression, who's pushing the pace of the fight, who's landing the bigger punches. That is Alex. However, and this is kind of very similar to Jake versus Taiwan 1 and 2. Jake was pushing the pace of the fight and was more aggressive and wasn't the better boxer, but he was actually throwing combinations and landing punches. Alex missed so much of his punches. He landed quite a few good punches on Deji. Same thing with Deji to Alex. But I would give 3 rounds to Deji and the last 2 to Alex. And I think both guys didn't land enough significant punches and just didn't do enough. Like, offensively, they didn't do enough. And I don't think Alex deserved to win, and I don't think Deji deserved to win. And whereas with the Jake versus Taiwan fight, I said, if you put a gun to my head, I would say Jake should have won. I don't think that Alex should have won. I just don't think he did enough. And Deji did well to make Alex miss. And a lot of Alex's punches were landing on Deji's gloves, on his wrists, on his arms, on his shoulders. They weren't actually landing on his chin, and Alex didn't even manage to get a clean shot. And what I'll say about Deji is I do think he got redeemed. I think his goal of being redeemed happened. He had great cardio. None of Alex's punches really affected Deji. He had great head movement, great defense. Vidal was saying this is professional looking. And there's a funny meme where Deji's defense, Floyd Mayweather, his offense, Tyron Woodley, and that's a perfect summary of his fight performance overall. He needed to come in more in the body and jab his way in to set stuff up. He never really utilized the jab, and having more stronger offense are 3 key things if he is to rematch Wasabi. I will also say that he needed to make it into a brawl and make it fast-paced, because when he went into Alex's face, made it fast-paced, made it rough, made it aggressive, kind of screwed the technicality just a bit, he was more successful. And I know it's the same thing with King Kenny, and maybe it's because Daly is so professional that he's trained them to go longer rounds, and maybe if this was a 10-round, 8-round, 12-round fight, 10-ounce gloves, no headgear, this pace would be better, but it's 5 rounds, 12-ounce gloves, you don't have a lot of time. And ultimately, I think that Deji showed that he could work hard, that he could take punches. Because he took punches, he showed that he put in the work, he looked in the best shape ever, he put in the best performance, and he lost in amazing fashion. And he did redeem himself in my eyes. So while I'm demoralized, hopeless, and depressed, and YouTube boxing is in a terrible place, I do think Deji accomplished his goal, and you have to give him respect. You have to give him props. I don't think he should continue boxing. I think he should do something else. But if he wants to rematch Alex, I think Alex will win. I'm just gonna have to do that because at this point I can't trust Deji. But can Deji still beat Alex the second time? Yes, because he showed that he had more power and he was a better boxer than Alex was. Alex just had stronger offense, and I think that Alex couldn't really go far in boxing. He was flat-footed, wide open. Not a lot of good head movement. Didn't seem to really deal with hits really well. Probably has a weak chin still, even though he took Deji's punches quite well. And ultimately, if he fought someone like Bryce Hall or lower tier YouTube fighters, he would beat them. But like even Slim or Adam or KSI or Jake or Logan, obviously, or Gibb, Austin, I think he'd get knocked out. I think he'd lose, and that's why I think from a business standpoint, Alex winning was a bad move, because he's not going to advance YouTube boxing any further than one fight. But don't get mad at me. Let's have a conversation, debate me, let's talk about it. If you want me to do a breakdown analysis of the fight, I will. Thank you for watching. Like, sub, and comment. Peace, and I'm proud of you, Deji.